Hello everyone, welcome to forceGalaxy. So today I am here to discuss a interview question, and this is very common and very important question. So the question is, what is batch apex? So if you are someone who is practicing for interview, so if an interviewer will going to ask you what is batch apex, please explain. So what you will going to explain him, or what are the important point which you should explain to the interviewer. Okay, so if I talk about my experience, whenever I used to took the interviews and ask the same question, 90% used to give me the definition of this batch apex and enough. No, I am not only, or not me, other interviewers are not only looking for the definition. It's not a viva. You are not in school, or you are not giving any colleges viva. It's an interview. In an interview, what basically we are looking for is what is the experience, what was the scenario which you perform with the help of this batch apex. Okay, so definition is okay, but what are the real time scenarios which you perform using this batch apex? This is the main important thing. Okay, why this is important? Then only we can get to know you are having the exact idea of this particular topic or not. So let's discuss this batch apex and see what are the points which can explain to the interviewer. Okay, so the very first thing comes is the definition only. Do not stretch it more. Okay, so within a one or two line, please complete your definition. And the important points come here. Next is what interfaces we are having, what different methods we are having, and what is the need of these methods, what different things you can perform with the help of these methods. Okay, so let's quickly go through the explanation, what things and the explanation you will going to give whenever you will be asked for the batch apex. So the very first thing here, as you can see, the batch apex definition is a feature in Salesforce that allows you to process large volumes of data asynchronously in manageable chunks. It deals for the operation that need to handle more than governor limits, like more than 10,000 record you can process with the help of DML, and plus you can query out more than 50,000 records when it comes to the asynchronous apex, or basically with the batch apex. Okay, now the next key concept of this batch apex comes is, this is the main thing, this interface is needed, that is database.batchable. This is the interface which will going to help you to convert your common apex class, or the common apex class to the batch apex. So the interface which will going to make your apex class to batch apex is database.batchable. And now this interface will going to have three mandatory methods which you need to include in your classes: start, execute, and finish. If you will going to skip any of the method, then you will going to get an error that this method is missing. Why? Because if you are implementing any kind of interface, so in that interface, whatever the mandatory methods are there, you need to implement or add in this class also, where you are implementing or using this interface. So basically these are the three methods. The start, which will going to prepare the apex job. Basically you will going to perform your SQL query here, that is retrieve the records more than 50,000. Second is the execute one, where you will going to execute your logic. There will be number of times your execute method will run, depends upon the number of records you will going to retrieve in your first method. Okay, so here execute the logic on each batch of data. So this is the batch, number of batches will be created, and on these batches, if it contains 200 record or 2000 record, accordingly it will going to process the each batch. Then finally comes the finish method. Once all the batches are executed in the execute batch, finally at last your finish method will going to execute. In this finish method, we will going to perform the post processing thing, the thing which we want to perform at the end once all the records are processed. Okay, like you want to share the data, what number of total processing of records were done, or what are the failures are there. So when you will get to know once all records are processed, so when all the batches are executed, finally at the end all these details we will going to get in finish method. Now here comes the governor limits. If you want, you can explain, like can process up to 50 millions of record. Each batch execute independently and is allotted in its own set of governor limits. So every time number of batches will create will going to have its own governor limits. Okay, it will run independently. It will not be like this, if first batch is already used the 2 DMLs, then the second batch will start using the DML after 2. No, it will again going to have its own governor limits. Okay, Now next comes here is default batch size is 200. This is the batches where you can range from 1 to 2000 record. Each batch can only contain maximum 2000 of records. This is done. Finally, he may ask you to write the syntax of batch apex, so you should be aware about how to write a batch apex. So what things are needed, the interface which you will going to implement, then finally your start method will come where this is the parameter you will going to pass, batchable context. This is the one which will help us to track the job ID. Based on this, we will get to know what is the status of my batch apex, okay, whether it is processed, it is failed, or it is processing, whatever it is. Now the second comes as execute, which will going to have a parameter, the list of record, which is retrieved from the first method. Then finally comes the same to track the job IDs and all, that is batchable context. Then finally at end we will going to have this finish method, which is going to have one same parameter, this is batchable context, and all the post processing things you will going to perform in this finish method. Now after explaining this much, you gave the explanation, the definition you added, the limits you have shared, you tell the importance of this interface and the methods, what is the need or what is the purpose or functionality of each method. After this, the very important thing comes is to explain the business use case. Okay, any of the use case you can explain, the one which you worked on, or even if you are not worked on any of the business case, then just try to find out where we can use these batch effects. Okay, so the very common thing is whenever you want to perform the processing in bulk or mass data update is there, the complete org account records I need to process, and if it is going to have 2 lakh 1 lakh of records, so how you will going to process all these things, so then the batch effects will come. So here let's discuss one of the use case. So your organization want to deactivate and notify all contact who haven't interacted with the company for over a year. So complete for a year, you need to now track the data. There are over 2 lakhs of record which exceed the governor limits for your synchronous processing. So if 2 lakhs of records are there and you need to perform the logic on these complete 2 lakh records which are of past 1 year, then how you will going to process this, or how you will going to execute your logic on these 2 lakhs of record, because with the normal processing or synchronous processing it cannot be possible, it will going to hit the governor limits. So here I will going to take help of this batch apex, and every year I will going to run this batch apex so that it can check out for past over a year whatever the records are there. He can be contacted and can be informed that your contact is deactivated or whatever it is I want to execute. Okay, now this is done. This you can explain like this is the scenario on which I worked on. Similarly, there are many where it required a mass processing. Now the next comes here is like the other use cases are data archiving, moving all the records to a separate object or external storage, mass data update, data migration, importing large data set from external system, automated data cleanup. Cleanup is most common scenario for batch epics. This is a very common requirement which you may get from your clients, also removing or marking inactive users records or logs. Okay, then integration with external system, yes, callouts are also possible with the help of batch epics. So this is also an important point which you can mention here. Then the email campaign, again sending bulk emails to the thousands of records. So this is how you can explain your batch effects. Please do not wrap up within 1 second or within a minute by only explaining the definition of batch effects. If you will going to do this, then the interview will going to get frustrated. Okay, so this is not your college or school where we are asking you for the definition. No, you are a candidate who work professionally on a particular technology. So here matters the complete things you know, mention it out. Okay, as much as you will going to speak on a particular topic, the interview will get more confident related to your knowledge. So just try to keep all these points in your mind and share some questions if you are having any, then I will going to try to create the video on same while explaining the answers. Okay, and if you are looking for any kind of trainings, either individual or corporate trainings, then do contact us. At forceGalaxy we used to provide the trainings related to Salesforce, any topic it is. More, you can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn, or you can check out our website forceGalaxy360.com. You will going to find everything there. Thank you so much for watching out this video. We will meet you soon in the next video.